This is Let's Talk About Magnum PI, the podcast from fans for fans of Magnum PI.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, we have Liz again. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to be back. I'm good. I'm so happy to be back.
So happy to have you back. So, we have a little bit of internet issues on Liz's site right now. There is slight reaction time, and I apologize if I can't catch every single one and cut it out, but I'll try.
Yeah, it's a little bit of internet issues, modern day problems.
Modern day problems and tonight problems, I think.
Yeah, I think, the time zone difference is kicking us right now, eh?
Oh, they're an adventure, aren't they?
I think we're working on, opposite sides of the clock at this moment.
We're in opposite days, quite literally.
We are. Yeah, it's still Saturday for me.
Yeah, hi from Sunday.
It's the future.
Yeah, it's so funny on Fridays too when we watch Magnum. Everybody else is on a wonderful Friday night. Saturday already here.
Yeah, it's true, and I watch it sort of the same time as the US, so for me it's really, Friday at 9.
Yeah. I mean, one part of the US, I think, isn't there, different time zones in when it airs, like West Coast, East Coast kind of thing?
Yeah, I think, they mainly have, they have more than those two time zones in the US, but I think they're, the two main ones that they will advertise on TV is East Coast and West Coast.
Yeah, that's all that I heard.
We have, I think it's 5 time zones in Canada. It's crazy.
We've got one. We're so boring. We've got one.
Yeah. We have, some provinces that are, half an hour before. It's not boring. It makes it easier.
I'm pretty sure right now almost all of Europe is in one time zone. I think. Yeah, almost all of Europe. I wish,
because North America, there's, I don't know how many time zones if we include, Canada, the US, and Mexico, which is literally, that whole continent. There's more time zones than I can even think about.
And to be fair, I think you guys are also quite a lot bigger than Europe, and it doesn't exactly make sense when you look at the sunrise over here. I'm pretty sure Portugal should be roughly in the same time zone as England is, and it's not.
Oh, just based on, geographical locations?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that in Canada, too. When you look at, us, also compared to the US, if you do, the straight line down, you're we should be on the same time zone as a lot of these places, but we're not sometimes.
Just fancy. Yeah, time zones, man. Gladys Hawaii's in one. Imagine if there was a different time zone between Maui and Oahu.
That would be insane.
Right?
They're so close together.
Yeah. So, due to...
mind you, we do have that in Canada, where...
Yeah. We're two places that should technically be in the same time zone, totally aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I find it always funny when you go from France to England, from a close place, you can actually, depending on how you travel, you can actually gain an hour of your time. You arrive before you even started.
Oh yeah? I didn't even know that. Are England and France different time zones?
They are.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Compared to Germany, it's 3:40 a.m. right now in Germany. It's 2:40 a.m. in England right now.
Oh, no way.
So, since we're already in England, let's talk about the show and our favorite Brit, Higgy.
Yeah, Higgy.
Higgy and her boys. Could be an interesting band, Higgy and her boys.
Yes. Higgy and her boys. That would be a very interesting. Vote to change the thread that they have on the show from the Ohana thread that they're all part of to Higgy and the boys.
Yeah, but what about Kumu?
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true. We have to include Kumu in there somehow.
We'll find it. Speaking of Kumu, we're in episode 103. Kumu is finally here.
Yes. It's a big episode for introductions.
Yeah, because not just Kumu is here, we have Katsumoto too.
Yes, it was the first episode for both of them.
I didn't remember it was episode 3 where they came in. It makes sense, totally. But yeah, it was so fun to actually rewatch it and be like, oh yay, that's the episode we meet both of them.
Yeah, and just the introduction to both of them is just so comedic. Like, I mean, considering it's like the exact same episode that they had a comedic entrance for both of them, I thought was genius.
Yeah. So we had Kumu introduced.
I mean, when we meet Kumu, she's, with the golfing.
Yeah, she's quite literally teaching. Kumu meaning teacher, she's quite literally teaching Thomas golf.
Yeah, and he does make that comment about her being always right because she is, Kumu, the teacher.
Yeah, we'll learn later on that she's not always right, but give her like a 99% success rate here.
Yeah, we will give her that.
Especially compared to the boys, she's totally always right.
Oh yeah, I would say especially compared to Magnum. And the funny part is Magnum always knows that she's right.
He doesn't deny it.
And then, no, not at all. And then when we meet Katsumoto, it's the same sort of right away Katsumoto knows exactly who Magnum is by reputation.
Yeah, I love the little smirk he has on his face when Magnum tells him, I'm sure we're gonna be great friends. Yeah, you are, but right now you might not believe it. Not yet.
And he's like, yeah. I doubt it. We'll see about that. But, he secretly knew they were gonna be friends.
Yeah, he totally did. Also, we totally knew.
Oh, of course.
Pretty sure that Ohana Thread's adoption is one that you can't resist, even if you want to.
Nope, once you're part of it, you're part of it. There's no getting out.
There's another introduction in this episode. We have Ken Yong, aka Luther H. Gillis.
Yes, Luther. He is one of my favorite guest stars. I adore Ken Jeong. He's so funny.
That is cool.
I mean, I knew him from so many, comedies before the show. So when he came in, I was like, oh my god, yes! And he just makes me laugh every time.
See, I'm like the opposite. I've only seen him on Hangover, and I'm not a big fan of Hangover. He's the spectacular performance in Hangover. I give him that. Somehow you have to keep it together to film this movie. But, that's the only thing I knew him from.
I knew him from that, and I knew him from... Oh, what was the other one? I don't know, I can't think of it right now. If it comes to me, I'll,
I mean, it's late for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock at night, so...
Yeah.
You'll have to give me a pass on remembering certain details tonight.
Yeah, we're having an interesting recording session over here.
Yeah, we are. Being, almost 4 a.m. for you and 10 p.m. for me. But we're doing it.
Speaking of Kumu, going back to Kumu and the golfing. Wow. Thomas's comment about Higgins having him arrested for polluting. I was like, okay, buddy, this is not your main problem. This shouldn't be your main problem. Your main problem should be the actual polluting. Don't do it. And he doesn't. Good for him.
Right. Very true. And you know that she would. You know that she would call HPD on him. That is, at that point in time, that is a very Higgins thing to do to Magnum, because she just loves to yank his chain at that point still.
Everybody knows it. Kumu knows it. Magnum knows it. Higgy knows it. Higgy doesn't do much to say otherwise, does she?
No, she doesn't. And I would also say that this is the episode where we really start to see that transition from Higgins into wanting to help Magnum more, right? And it's, I think, one of the episodes where the bantering really gets taken up a notch, because she's now decided she's going to help him, but, you know, as we saw when Kumu comes in, and, you know, she's like, oh, you're helping him, and, you know, she's like, would it be so bad if you were? And she's like, well, yeah, kind of, right? But she doesn't really mean it, because she does really want to help him.
She's fun helping him, I think. She's got fun.
Yeah, I mean, as he says... Oh, go on.
No, I was just struggling with the English language here.
I was going to say, because she says, it was Magnum who says in, like, the voiceover, you know, I secretly think that Higgins misses this. And we can see it, you know, like, when she's using the database to find all the information on the coma patient, she's, like, right into it, and she's not missing a beat, right? And that's just, you can tell that that's her thing, and she misses it.
Yeah, I think it's not so much the actual doing what she's doing that she misses. I think she misses making a difference, because managing an estate, it's nice, it's a great job, I think, especially if you get to live on said estate, and that's this thing. But yeah, she strikes me as the kind of person who really likes making this kind of difference, and she's found herself a really good partner in Magnum.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think she even says it at some point after they've solved the case. You know, he says, admit it, you missed the action. And then she looks at, you know, the client, and she says, no, like, helping people, like, reuniting people, this is the part that I miss. So, I think...
Should actually be in season 1. Relatively soonish.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Should be relatively soon.
I can't remember the exact episode, but I can remember the line to a T. I just can't remember exactly what episode it is.
Yeah, same here. It happens.
We'll get there.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And maybe one of you listeners joins us for it.
Yeah, let us know which one it was. Also.
Yeah, help us. Okay,
help us out.
So, the actual case, we have quite the interesting case. We have a fiancé that was hit by a car and is now in a coma, and we find out she had surgery done.
Yes. And the husband or fiancé wants to know why, because as far as he knows, there's no reason for that to have happened.
Yes, she's been hiding quite a bit of her past, hasn't she? Which Magnum really finds out. The case itself fairly quickly. Yes, Magnum's just good, isn't he?
He is. He's a very good PI, and it shows.
And what I really commend him for is the fact that the guy who refers him, which is Luther H. Gillis, tells him to milk this thing. Like, push it over 3 days. Magnum really doesn't. He has apparently no interest in milking a case. His main interest is in helping the people, and it shows.
Yeah, because, you know, it's not in Magnum's nature to take advantage of people, right? And he always wants to do what's best for his client and his friends as well. But it's that if we're speaking strictly PI business, it's for his clients. He just wants to get it done well. He wants to do it fast, and he wants to get the results that the client wants.
Or the results that the client needs. Because this is one of the episodes where that shows a lot.
Definitely. Because the client, you know, initially hired him just to find out, like, the very basic, and then he does say, I don't want to hear anymore, like, let me pay you. And then, you know, the case does continue, and we do eventually see what the woman in the coma's secrets are, and the case obviously goes on, and we will discuss this.
Yeah, he's also the voice of reason in terms of what could have happened with Emily. So yeah, he's really
AKA Tara.
AKA Tara. He's really on the side of his clients, even if they don't know they need it.
Yeah. I mean, and we've mentioned this, you know, like back when we first meet him in the pilot, when he says to Emily at the gate, he says, you know, about the pictures, I have them. If you want them still in a week, I will give them to you, but don't make a rash decision. Think about it, right? So he's still there for the client, and he still does the work, but he, like you said, you know, sometimes the client doesn't always know what they're getting into or what's best, and Magnum sort of, in a way, you know, guides them towards the right decision while also letting it be their choice.
Yeah, and he shields them from direct emotional pain if he can. If he can't, of course, he can't.
Right. And that just, I think, you know, comes from all of his past and emotional pain. Hannah is, you know, where we're going with this, I think. But I think that was heavily implied in the episode as well.
Heavily implied, it was directly said.
Yeah.
It was directly said by one of the guys who helps him in this episode, aka Rick. We have both his besties helping out a lot in this episode, I think.
They do. They really do.
I did take issue with Rick's helping, though. When Rick hooks him up with the guy that helps him find out what Tara would have looked like, he says he's fluent in nerd because that guy just said the thing in nerd speak. I disagree.
I disagree too. I was like, really, Rick? You're gonna go there, right? And then the guy who did the forensic reconstruction was like, yeah, like, you know what you're talking about. And when he said that, I was like, thank you, because you know what? He probably doesn't.
Also, I disagree with the entire terminology of it being nerd speak.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because it would basically be like Danny and Steve from 5-0 standing in front of Nolani, who just gave her professional opinion on a medical examination, and they're going like, "Oh, you were just doing nerd speak." No, it's just her professional terminology.
Exactly. It's just the proper terms that are used, right? And I think it should be respected.
Yes, it's not nerd speak, Rick.
Rick. That's just Rick for you.
That's true. Rick in his King Kamehameha Club times.
Yes.
I feel like he kind of grows out of that.
He really does. I would say from, like, season 1 Rick, you know, to the episode where he's gonna go get the loan. I think it's in the second episode of season 2, when he's, you know, dressed up in the suit and everything. Like, I think that there's been so much growth on his part.
Yeah, there has been.
You know, and so much responsibility gained.
Yeah, and he needs it for La Mariana, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think he gets it and he sticks with it, quite honestly.
Yeah, he's good like that. They're all good like that.
Yeah.
I mean, out of all three of them, the one who really has it together, I think, is TC.
You know, I feel like even TC has his moments where he's not so together.
Yeah, I kind of mean professionally. He's the one running a successful business and steadily throughout the entire show. So much that...
excluding Higgy?
How professional how professionally running is she? How well running is the business if she has to complain about not making enough money in season 3?
True. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I was thinking more along the lines of, she runs a tight ship and like things get done and
yes,
nothing
absolutely,
happens.
everything gets done.
But now that you mention the money thing, I get it.
Everything gets done, but the estate doesn't earn its keep.
I see your point. 100% on that.
And as far as we know, the helicopter business does. And the only financial struggle that TC is in is due to Rick.
Mm-hmm.
And Magnum, let's be real.
I mean, the tab. Just the tab. And all the times that Magnum uses the chopper as a bargaining chip.
Or as a way to avoid traffic.
Yeah. One of my favorite TC lines is, "Let me guess, Magnum, you need a ride." Which is funny because I actually, when I was rewatching this episode, I wrote down one of the lines that I really liked, and I left the book with it at the other house, so I can't remember what it was now. But I remember I wrote down with like a million exclamation points.
It might have been the moment... Yeah, I'm blanking. Oh no!
I can't remember.
You looked, didn't you?
You looked, didn't you? I can't remember! Oh my gosh!
It might have been the moment where he calls Magnum out on giving out 3 chopper rides, Magnum not picking up the phone, and him pointing out, "I see you." Magnum looking up, and then, "You looked, didn't you?"
I actually think it may have been that one. And then there also was a Higgins line, but I can't quite remember. It was a banter line between the two of them. And I can't remember what it was now. It was the Uber. It was the Uber line.
Okay. I did not have that on my radar. I was gonna say it might have been the one where she's so shocked that he uses a badge. They go in, and she impersonates someone with an academic title.
Dr. Higgins.
Yeah, Dr. Higgins. Okay, I see you. It's not a badge.
I did have that one written down. I did have written down.
It's not a badge, but it's not much better, is it?
No, not at all. But did she not have a fake badge? Or no, she didn't. That's only in later seasons.
Pretty sure it's only in later seasons, yes. Not yet. She's not as professionally with Magnum yet.
Yes, but it's true. And the Uber line, that was the other one when it came back full circle to the first episode when he was like, "Take an Uber." And she was like, "Seriously?" Like,
yeah. Can we talk about how he got her to work with him?
I love it. I love it so much with the slow typing.
It was physically painful for me to watch. Like, I get kind of annoyed with people when they type that slow. Also because most of the people I interact with are paid as writers, and when you type like that, I'm questioning your professional ability. Me too, and it's just, that whole scene is just pure gold when she's like, "Oh, for God's sake, out of the way." She just feel her. She's like, "Just get out of my way and let me do my work." And she does it like in half the time. And he's like, "Yep, that was my plan all along." And it's like, yeah, you go, Magnum. Like, yeah, I mean, he was prepared, even though it's this sandwich, or was it a musubi sandwich? It was something edible. He was prepared for her to take over.
Yeah, and I mean, and that again just goes to show you how much he already knows her. Like, he knows that him slow typing at her desk would cause that reaction, right? Like, he knew that it would get to her.
How long have they been living together, kind of, before the show even started?
I think it's only a few months, from what I can tell. the timeline's not 100% clear, but based on the flashback in Blood in the Water where they first meet, I would say, yeah, maybe a few months before the pilot happens. And then this episode takes place fairly quickly after the timeline of the pilot.
Yeah, Blood in the Water being the fanfiction come to life kind of thing.
Yes, the OG fanfiction coming to life, because I feel like we've had a couple other moments since then, but that was the very first one.
Yeah, we totally had a couple other moments since then.
Yes, but Blood in the Water, I absolutely love that episode. Like, if anybody asks me what my favorite episode is, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm most probably going to say that one.
It is really high up there.
It is high up there. And then we got the Hyapo episode, Crime Murder, then that one got up there too, so now it's kind of like, they're tied. But Blood in the Water for the longest time was my absolute favorite.
I feel you. I've got a soft spot for that kind of trope anyway, so that was so satisfying.
It was such a satisfying episode. It's just like, it shows their personality so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and also so much growth.
It does. Okay, going back to the episode, we have...
Back to the current one.
Let's try to stay on topic, like that's ever gonna work. I personally really love the fact that Magnum took a friend to that tattoo removal place, and he took a very heavily tattooed guy. And I remember initially watching it, I was like, no, you're not removing any of these tattoos. Are you nuts? Because to me, it looked like that guy was has a lot of these Polynesian tattoos, aka these cultural tattoos that have a very deep meaning, that are very personal to you. And like, I took offense to it.
The question is, did he ever actually get a single one of them removed?
Nah, I don't think so. I think it was just the initial talk where nothing happens, and or he just like, I decided I need a little bit of time and never turns up again.
Or Magnum comes rushing back into the room in a scene we didn't see and goes, it's okay, we're ready to go.
Yeah, or like, someone call, my cat's missing or something.
Yeah, so I don't think he actually ended up getting any of them removed.
No, I would... You can't remove them. They're... Nah, you can't remove those.
They're too precious.
Speaking of tattoos, I discovered something outrageous to me. One of my coworkers actually has a Polynesian tattoo, and he gave me a little speech about how his doesn't have any meaning, it's just pretty, and I just, like, I want to strangle him for that.
Oh, no. It needs to have meaning.
There is a line between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation, and yeah, he crossed that one.
Yeah. From what I can tell, yeah, he did.
Speaking of culture, we have a very cultural place in this episode. We're meeting in front of the Bishop Museum. Well, yes. Magnum and Higgins are waiting in front of the meeting in front of the Bishop Museum, and something that I noted down was, by the way, the shot was framed. Didn't we just instantly know that it's not gonna be in the museum that they find what they need, but in the school?
Yeah, I mean, that is such a TV device, you know.
Yeah.
It was, just the fact that there was, like, the kids playing and everything just sort of hinted that there was going to be another location that we were going to be finding answers at.
I mean, the school was very obviously shown in the background, and it was zoomed out enough for us to really realize, oh, there's a school behind this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
you just gotta love those little tidbits that the creative team puts in there for sure.
Yeah, I love the fact that they actually seem to have shot in the Hawaiian Hall in the Bishop Museum too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give it to, the location managers on Magnum. They tend to do, as much on location as they can to make it as authentic as they can. And I love it, and it shows. Like, it definitely shows.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on the Bishop Museum too. So, they are, in the background, we have the Hawaiian Hall. We very obviously see the fake sperm whale, but there's also a fake white shark with fake tuna. There's a boat, and there's if I saw correctly on the pictures, there's also a little holly down there. So what they describe the Hawaiian Hall is, a Hawaiian Hall takes you on a journey through different realms of Hawaii. The first floor is the realm of Kaiakea, which represents the Hawaiian gods, legends, beliefs, and the world of pre-contact Hawaii, aka pre-contact from the European and American settlers. The second floor, Wau Kanaka, represents the realm where people live and work, focusing on the importance of the land and nature in daily life. And the third floor, Wau Lani, not Lanai, different words, different meaning, is the realm inhabited by the gods. Here you will learn about the ali'i and key moments in Hawaiian history.
So it makes a very interesting place to film.
Yes,
and it
makes sense
for this particular episode.
Yeah, and researching it would just make me like, I want to go there, please, now. Can I please go there? Make a virtual tour.
Go everywhere on Oahu. We want to go everywhere on Oahu.
Yeah, but I'm a total history nerd. So, I want to go there. Bad.
I want to go to the palace. The, what's it called? The one that they used for, thank you, the Alani Palace. Yeah, I definitely want to go there. And I would love to see Magnum and company go there for some reason in the near future.
A semi-crossover needs to happen again. I mean, we don't even have to see these people, but, just be like, oh, let's meet McGarrett and the crew at La Mariana later. Thank you.
I would love that. The crossover was so good.
It was.
And it needs to happen again. Like you said, at least a partial. I need to know how everybody on the 5-0 crew is doing, even if it's just mentioned in passing.
Yeah, and even, I know that there's a lot of Hawaii 5-0 fans that are just like, is Steve okay? Is he ever gonna come back to the island? You've got a tool there to pacify these fans and be like, hey, oh, by the way, McGarrett is back. Let's meet up with him.
Yeah, and and especially considering that, as we saw in the crossover, and we know from, character details and everything, McGarrett and Magnum are so similar, just in background and sort of in personality a little bit, not quite, but they do some do share some personality traits that it is entirely possible that they would go get a beer together at La Mariana, and something like that. So it's not totally inconceivable that they wouldn't hang out.
Also adding the fact that Rick and TC totally had their fangirl moment over McGarrett. So yeah, it's not impossible for the four of them to just sit together and reminisce. Serving time.
About everything. Oh, we can hope.
Yeah, we can hope. Speaking of terminology about everything, I just say I really love the fact that Higgins has a really good kick, and the fact that she very, very much and strongly pointed out, which I agree to, that it's not soccer, it's football.
Ooh. You are talking to a Canadian who we use the same terminology as the US. So I don't know, I might have to disagree with you on that. I might have to say it's soccer.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the thing. You refer to football as American football, right?
What do you mean? Like the one
NFL?
where you throw the ball?
Yeah.
NFL? Oh no, we just call it football.
Yeah, I know that's what you call football. But like, there's one kick. There's one kick in that game. Meanwhile, soccer actually punishes you for picking that thing up unless you're the goalie. Which one is the actual football played with a football?
But I like how there's the distinction, but like American football, right? So you have like your football, and then you have your American football, like in Europe and stuff.
Yeah, we agree with you guys. If you call it football, we'll call it football too. It's just a different football than ours, so we'll call it American football.
American football.
And not randomly change the name into soccer.
Well, yeah. I don't quite get why we call it soccer, to be honest with you. Because I get where you're coming from, like you kick the ball with your foot. So why is it called soccer? I think it's just us being so close to the US that we took the terminology from there.
Let's blame the US. That sounds solid.
Yeah, we could do that.
I have a question. Since you mentioned that you got some stuff from the US, what the hell is a central vacuum system?
A central vacuum system is when there is like holes in the wall, and the suction comes somehow from within the wall, and you take the hose of the vacuum and you screw it into each of the like sockets in each room, so you don't actually have like the Hoover. You just like move the hose around and not the actual vacuum itself.
I have so many questions.
It's built into the wall. Built into the wall.
But can you reach every part of the room with that?
Supposedly yes, because the hoses are very long, and you have like multiple outlets for it around, like I guess in the same room. I mean, I don't have it in my house, so I use a regular vacuum. But I mean, yeah, I think it's like you just have different outlets that you can move the hose around to be able to reach everywhere in your house.
I'm the kind of nut. My vacuums actually have names because I only have these cute little robots.
I had one that was called Henry. It had like a face on it, and it was red.
Aww.
And it's actually called like Henry Hoover.
I've got Jack and Adam. But I named them. Adam is the poor little guy that has to take care of the dirt my hedgehog spills out of his cage.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out for him.
Poor guy.
Yeah, but then, in case of the central vacuum system, it certainly makes sense that Magnum goes, you shouldn't have a Hoover then. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why she's a little bit, I don't know, maybe because she's from England that she doesn't know what central vacuum is, or maybe she did know, and she just didn't understand why it would matter that she had to.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she didn't see the Hoover, did she? It was something that he checked out.
That's true. He noticed it from across the room.
It was bothering me, like, central vacuum system, what the hell even is that?
You're like, what is this?
Yeah. Learn something new every day, and every time we record.
It's cool to learn about other things in other countries.
Yeah, it is. Especially if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that
stuff, it's great.
Not that I think a central vacuum system does make too much sense, but, you know.
It makes more sense now that you know what it is properly.
No.
No.
No, it still feels like a, you know, it's an interesting system, but it feels kind of redundant, given the fact that Hoovers aren't stupidly expensive, and pretty sure building a central vacuum system into a house is stupidly expensive. And I'm just imagining the maintenance costs of that, because if something really badly breaks, don't you have to go into the walls? Meanwhile, if your Hoover breaks, yeah, just get a new one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't really know what happens if something goes super wrong with the central vac.
I don't want to imagine that. It just from my very, I don't know what it is point, I could only imagine that this would be a nightmare to take care of. But like,
yeah,
plumbing.
It can't be good.
Okay, let's get to the gritty point. We're going to King Kamehameha Club, and Magnum tells our dear fiance what he found out, and he's being the voice of reason towards Emily and tries to instill confidence in Emily's character within her fiance, yes. Given, you know, the multiple options that could have happened, what made Emily choose her path.
Mm-hmm. And he's trying to do it as gently as he can in this situation. You know, and I think that the fiancé at this point had just heard, you know, so many things that he didn't know, that he just couldn't, like, he just didn't think he could handle it anymore, because it was just one thing after the other that he was learning.
Yeah, and we kind of see him close off, but what I really commend Magnum for is this is not the moment he stops.
Because he knows it's not over. He knows there's more to it.
Yeah, it goes back to Magnum helping his clients even though they think it's over and he knows better.
Yeah. Because he doesn't want to just leave the client with this feeling of, like, uneasiness, this feeling of regret and everything. So he does want to give, like, the client the sort of happy resolution, or at least some information as to why the resolution wouldn't be so happy, like if there is a time that it's not.
Yeah, and then Rick swoops in.
Yes. Good old Rick. Always knows a guy.
A, he always knows a guy, and B, he dishes some truths.
Yes.
Namely the truth that he identifies with the client.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I can honestly say that part of me would too.
Yeah, totally. It is, in the broad sense, a very similar situation to what Magnum was in. Was she his fiancée at that point? I don't think she was, but he wanted her to be?
Are we talking about Hannah, or are we talking about
we're talking about
Emily
Hannah.
/Tara? Wanted her to be, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he hadn't asked her. I don't think he actually ever asked her to marry him.
Yeah, but he was getting ready for it, I feel.
Yeah, he was. It was
Ouch.
Definitely, it's mentioned a couple times. And yeah, and then we all know how that went.
Yeah, so his would-be fiancée kept a very big secret. She kind of turned out to be somebody else entirely. Mm. Yeah, he totally identifies with this, and in that part with Right.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like the way he talked about Emily, he tries to redeem her. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure he did that in the POW camp too, in his head, trying everything he can to redeem Hannah in his head, which didn't work.
Yeah, and I think even later in the season when Hannah does come back and, Rick and TC say to him, like, we gotta turn her in, we gotta do all this. And he's like, no, I need answers. I need to know why she did this. And I think that was him, like, trying to rationalize what she did, right? Because his thinking was, like, if she did it for a good reason, then maybe she wasn't, she didn't betray me as badly as, like, I think she did. Like, she had a better reason to do it. And I think that plays into the whole thing with Emily.
I feel like it would have hurt him less if she had an actual good reason.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, knowing Magnum's personality, he's fairly forgiving. We've seen over and over and over again. So if Hannah had another reason, it was all for her father in the end, right? But, I, like, if she had a different reason that maybe would have been more, like, Magnum would have been more sympathetic towards, then maybe he would have blamed her less. And he is sympathetic to the reason why. We do see, like, part of him, when he does find out. He is a little sympathetic, but then, again, after everything he did to them, I don't think he could ever totally be over it.
Yeah. Which is something I actually like, that he, after getting to rationalize what Hannah did with the dad and everything, it's still not implied that he forgave her.
No.
Which is...
We do see it. We do see it a little bit, when he agrees to go and help her. He's sort of like, she didn't deserve this, yada, yada, yada. But you're right, he never... We don't know whether or not he actually ever forgave her at all.
Yeah, it's not implied, which is... for me personally, it's also part of his growth kind of thing. Like, Magnum's a very forgiving person, but the resolution of the entire storyline felt more like he got to close this chapter for good, and he got to close it with answers instead of, like, I'm just going to forgive you because I really want to forgive you.
And I think that's what he needed, right? I think that I don't think he necessarily needed to forgive Hannah. He just needed to understand why. And that helped, like, him knowing why helped him heal a little bit, to the point that he is healed now.
Yes. He can move on with his life and maybe love someone else later. Or, well, he already loved someone else by that point.
Yes. He had.
Was falling in love.
Yeah, was falling in love. I was going to say, I don't really know if Abby was a full-on thing yet. But close around then.
He was opening up to someone else. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. And that's important, right?
Yeah. You know what else happened in this episode? And something that I really don't get?
Go for what was it?
He covered his tab at King Kamehameha Club.
Yes, he did.
But in that...
You gotta wonder what that tab is, because they mention it a lot.
Yeah. At least he gets to leave King Kamehameha Club with a closed tab, I guess. But here's the other question. Here's the thing that I don't understand. If Rick took the check to cover the tab, what the hell did he give Luther?
The remaining?
What's remaining?
I don't know. You could see Luther was expecting a lot more.
Yeah.
Right? So, maybe that's why. Maybe it was like, I don't know, $100 check. We'll never know.
Yeah, but I'm just questioning where that came from. Where did he find the money to give to Luther when, the original check from the client went to Rick? Unless he made Rick give it back. Maybe
Rick, do we know? I can't remember. Do we know if Rick needed that entire amount to cover the tab?
He pointed out that it might just about cover the tab, so What was that, $5 or something?
Yeah, good point. Loophole.
Plot hole.
Plot hole. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, late night brain.
Early morning brain.
Yeah, plot hole. That's what I meant to say. And also, like, another one is, how is Magnum able to afford these poker games with Luther if he's always saying he has no money?
What in his brain makes him think that it's a good idea?
Yeah, exactly. When he can't even afford to put the gas in the Ferrari.
Uh-huh.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Same with him losing all his money to very sexually frustrated Higgins in season 3.
Yes. Uh-oh, guys. Looks like Higgy's gonna take our money. Another great line.
Yes.
Wonderful line.
I love this.
She took all of their money that night.
She was out for blood, and she got it.
She really was. And you could see it in her eyes that she was gonna, take them all down.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Everybody knows one thing now. Don't mess with Higgy and expect her to not take your money.
She is a force to be reckoned with, and don't underestimate her.
When she wants to be.
Yeah, she can play both sides, as we saw in that poker game. You know, she had the moment where, when she was with Ethan, where she, I guess, maybe wasn't paying attention to the game, or, was pretending not to be great at the game, or whatever the reason was that she wasn't doing so well in the poker. And then, she comes back and she's like a beast.
I don't think she was pretending to be bad at the game. I think she just
was distracted.
Yeah, she was very much distracted.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't think she was doing it on purpose at all.
Nah.
No.
It felt like
she would have no reason.
Yeah, it felt like it was just a friendly game between friends, and well, you don't really have to pay that much attention to a friendly game within friends, unlike, when there's a crime boss at your table.
Yeah, exactly. And then when she was a little frustrated, she decided to take that frustration out in cards.
Yeah, you can't even say that the guys disliked it. They were kind of, okay, this is happening now. Let's buckle up for the ride.
Because we know what's coming in.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of her relationship with the guys, I loved one thing a lot about this episode. 2 things, actually. Magnum leaves her at Emily's family's house without so much telling her where he's going, why he's going.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting her to kind of protect the family, with right, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
But, after that, when he goes off to hunt that guy, before he goes off to hunt that guy, how on point is their teamwork already? He goes for the gun, she goes for the family. They actually discussed it beforehand, but they never did. They just, they just worked this well together to diffuse a situation like this.
They just know each other. They just can anticipate each other's moves, right? And it's just the two of them knowing each other and being in sync, and it's amazing, right?
Already, it's only episode 3.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of his points, in season 2, when he asks her to be his partner. He says, we work really, really well together. And it's true, I mean, as much as I love, him working with the guys, and as much as they work super well together because they were, military together and were on the same team, he just, to me, has something special with Higgins when they work together. There's that extra bond, I find, between the two of them that just makes them such a great team.
Yes, absolutely. There really is.
And it shows. It shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I really loved how calm Higgins was when she explained to the girl that she has to leave. Like that's
she was just like, you're going out the window, like, just go and everything will be okay.
Yeah, but she doesn't, go like, oh, there's this and this happening in the house, don't worry. She's actually, taking the kid seriously, tells her this is what you're gonna do now, and you're gonna call the police. She's not hiding the fact that there's something going on. She's just very calm, gives the kid clear instructions, and I think that's really helpful in a situation like that. Not to, be like, oh, this is all fine, but like, something's happening, I got it under control, you're doing this to help me, and I'm calm. You can stay calm too.
Yeah, and again, I think that that's very Higgins in her personality.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we've seen it multiple times that she can keep a very level head. I mean, we saw it when, Ivan's men came, when Ina came and tied, her and Kumu up, and she just sat there and was like, talking to them, not afraid, and like helping Kumu be okay. And when they were in the wine cellar and everything like that, it just, like, you can see that in those pressure situations, or even when she was kidnapped this past season, she was not once, like, out of control, except for that moment with Magnum where she was like, don't trade places with me. But we'll get to that later. But for the most part, she can keep her cool, right? Like when it comes to, other people that are in the same situation as her, she's very conscious of it, and she's very good at keeping it calm, I think.
Yeah, she is. I also feel like the moments where this kind of wall and facade that she keeps the level head breaks and shows that she's actually, not as level head inside sometimes. They happen more in later episodes. Like, as she opens up, they happen more.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Like, you see that much more, like, stone-faced Higgins in those events, like in those situations earlier on, and that might be part of it too, like when in the later episodes where she does have that little bit of fear when her and Magnum trade places. It's because she's more open, right? Because she has more of a relationship with him, right? So it means more to her.
He's already her best friend.
Keep that facade. Exactly. They're already best friends, and so it's harder for her to keep that facade up, for sure.
Yeah. It's just lovely. Oh, another thing that's really lovely about this episode is how amazing is this stunt guy?
Oh, yes. All of the stunt guys. The stunt team is amazing.
I really love parkour. It's something that, in another world, I would learn. Not in this one.
Me too.
Not in this one. But like, wow. And also points.
Yeah.
Points for the realism of him getting winded.
Yeah. 100%. Like, just everything, like this, the production of it is just, in my opinion, top notch for those kind of things.
It is. And we saw the clear difference to what we mentioned earlier. Just now, actually, not so much earlier. Higgins is clearly worried for him when he's winded. She's clearly, oh my god, have you been hurt? But she keeps more of a stone face as opposed to what she would later do.
Oh yeah, I think she would have shown a lot more emotion if it was later episodes, for sure.
Yeah, slight panic.
Yeah. I mean, we see it more in her eyes, the panic these days, I find.
Yeah, these eyes aren't hiding much.
No. And she's softening up a little bit, just in general. Like, her personality is just opening and softening, and it's wonderful.
I love it so much. We're getting to see
Me too. I love character development.
Yeah, we're getting to see the original pre-Richard's death personality of her more and more.
Yes, pre-Hawaii, I would even dare to say pre-MI6 Higgins.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I think we're seeing a lot of that as well. Like, we're seeing the pre-spy Higgins, you know? Because she wasn't a spy her whole life, right? Like, she was somebody before she was a spy, and she was somebody before Richard, you know, even as a spy, she was somebody before Richard's death, and she was somebody completely different after he died, and she's somebody completely different now that she's in Hawaii, and she's somebody completely different now that she's met Magnum. Like, there's been so many, you know, incarnations of Higgins, and we can say that about any of the characters, I think. You know, we could even do the same with Magnum. Like, he was one person before the army. He's another person during it. He's another person during the POW camp. He's another person, you know, after Hannah dies. He's another, you know, like, they've all had so many parts of their lives. Right? Yeah. And we've only seen a portion of it.
Yeah, and for all of them, we see these central values go from one character to the other character, which is, well, not character, but person, which is something that's really amazing, because he's like, Magnum's always been empathetic, he's always been this caring, he's always wanted to help people. That's, you know, that's his core, and that's the thing that never changes, even though someone tried hard to change that.
And it probably will never change. Like, it will always be a part of him, you know, even, like, you know, no matter what relationship he's in, no matter what stage of his life he's in, he will still have those core values.
Yeah. That's just Magnum.
Yeah. That's who he is.
That's the guy that Gordon has apparently instant respect for. Even though he wouldn't like to admit it.
Yeah, I mean, he, you know, he might not show it or admit it, but it's there, that respect.
It is. It really is there. So I think it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah, I think we're just about there, considering, you know, time zones and everything.
Yeah, it's almost time to, you know, start my day. Oh.
And for me to end mine.
Yeah, that's calling you loudly. I can almost hear it.
And coffee's calling you, I'm sure.
No.
No.
No, lemon tea's calling me.
Lemon tea, even better. I'm not a coffee drinker either, so.
I've got like one very specific type of coffee that's very expensive, so I drink it not a lot. I've got expensive taste in coffee. I'm sorry.
Sage for special mornings only.
No, it's not even expensive taste for coffee. There's like the multitude of coffees in this world is really, I can't handle it. My stomach can't handle it, so it's like the only coffee I can handle. And happens to be expensive.
Oh no.
But it also happens to be very fair trade.
Okay. Very good.
Alright, technicalities at the end. So guys, here's something that I discovered. We might be reaching the limit of our backlist on Spotify. So there's a potential that this episode kicks off the first one from Spotify. However, it's still gonna be on YouTube if you want to re-watch or listen it. So it's always, the entire backlist is always gonna be on YouTube. It might just not all be on Spotify for the long run, due to the fact that our hosting is entirely free. Like our time spent here. We're not spending any money. You're not spending any money. Everybody gets something for free, and that's the one downside to it. We don't have unlimited backlist on Spotify, but YouTube provides. And as always, leave us a comment on YouTube, on Instagram, and if you want to be on the show, hit us up.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I believe we have someone lined up for episode 4 already. And we have another person lined up in the future for another episode, so come and join the party.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes, so bye and see you guys next time.
Bye!